Um, Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are right now. This is another show, a radio or live show that we have today, and we're gonna continue on our co-creative journey to see where it's gonna take us today. And today we have Whitney with us. Whitney, and she's gonna, as we go through this journey, we're gonna share some questions, and there are gonna be some answers that's gonna be presented to you. So the first of the thing that I would like to start today is with a prayer, because it's important to whatever we do to actually have a sincere heart in what we do and share our sincere desire to really understand what we are doing right now as a species on this planet, and what are we doing collectively and individually at the same time. So my prayer is that from the bottom of my heart, let me go within and see what type of a prayer that comes in. Is that it's I see billions of people around the earth, majority of them forgotten who they are, and they are tuned into what we call the illusionary matrix reality, creating an illusionary matrix, a framework that they are living in. And my prayer is that uh, may our consciousness and our hearts connect to them, to those people that are lost in the daily routines of life, so that they can realize who they are and stop giving their powers to the powers that are there, that are controlling them and enslaving them by their own powers. To see the truth and to be once again free, so that we all can live in the harmonious planet, and really bring the vision of bringing a better earth and creating a new reality on the planet, so we all can enjoy not only for ourselves, but for the future generation that they're going to be here on this planet. So that's my first prayer, and that's my sincere desire that's going to happen. Whitney, do you have any prayers?
Yeah, I was imagining being inside of your prayer, and as you're praying and seeing it fulfilled and seeing it, really feeling that. So I kind of wasn't thinking about a prayer of my own, but from my heart to everyone on earth, my prayer that they would just, they would be well in their bodies. They'd feel good, that their joints wouldn't hurt, and that they could sit and breathe, and they could just, they could be okay. And the anxiety of pressure living in this world just kind of fade a little bit, until it's gone and you just don't even know it was gone. Yeah, wellness. That's what I'd wish. John, do you have a wish? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, John and I are listening as well. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, and may your prayers all come into fruition, we call it, or into manifestation. It will manifest and bloom in everybody's heart. That's the main thing. While I'm starting the show, I would like to thank the Evolution TV network for allowing us to put this message and across more people, because the more people can listen to these teachings. And it's just not a teaching. I'm not here to teach anybody. I'm here to remind you of what you already know deep within your own consciousness. And I would like to sincerely thank the Evolution TV network for their help and to allowing us to bring this message to the world. So I'll go from that point. I'm not here to teach anybody. I'm just here to awaken a part of you that you've forgotten over a long, 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 long time. And it's a part of us that needs to. It's already is all knowing. It's all. It's everywhere. It's omnipresent, all knowing, and it's timeless. And we just have to connect to that part of ourselves, and the journey that we are taking is just a matter of remembering the connection, consciously connecting to that part of you that you have forgotten, and kind of bypassing the, I would say, the mind matrix programming and also the mind matrix implants. Every human being, a majority of them, 99.9%, have what we call a mind implant. If you look at the Zachariah Sitchin's work, he talks about the Anunnaki and when they created the human species on Earth, they created them as a slave race. Our genetic construct. I'm not talking about your soul construct. We'll go into that a bit later on. But our biological two-stranded DNA was designed to be a worker and a worker slave. And in the beginning, they created worker slaves that they wanted to help mine the planet for gold. And because their atmosphere, the Anunnaki's atmosphere, needed this particle, which comes from the sun originally, which is the gold particles, to be able to shield it. They had something like similar to us, global, I would say, warming. So they needed to balance it by these dust particles, gold dust particles in their atmospheres, to be able to balance the atmosphere and their planets and so forth. So they first tried to mine the planet through technology and stuff. It came to be a lot more difficult. So they tried to use what we call genetic engineering. They created species of life so they can mine that, and some of them, as you call, some of the genetic engineering that they did came about creating human beings, including the female human beings that were very beautiful to their eyes. So they started intermingling their own genes with the gene pool that was on the planet at that time. And as a result of that, what happened was that we had a more advanced race, because once you mix a 2-stranded DNA with a 12-stranded DNA or more, you're going to get more advanced beings. And there was a conflict between, I would call the slave race and the creator race that basically created the first species on our planets. And because there were not only like human species that they did biological tests, there were like mixing animal kind of DNA with human DNA. They would create weird shaped humans that their heads were, an elephant or head of a cow and a body of a human, or something like hybrids, I would say, like kind of like a cloning centers. So our genetic construct comes from there, and there's a whole story of how it has happened, which is important, but it's not that important, but it's at the same time important to understand your challenges of your daily life. When you look at us, we are all working for gold. Anybody on the planet right now, directly or indirectly, whether you're plugged into the banking system, you're having a 9-to-5 job, or even if you're working for yourself, you are plugged into that system where you are unconsciously working to acquire more wealth. It's a deep-rooted programming, which I am part of it myself, because we are all part of it. If you have a human body, you are part of that construct, unless you go live in a cave and basically shut off from anybody, and there are a group of people that can support you with that, and or live in an area that is self-sustainable, so it can be kind of off-grid and understand the meaning of your some of your desires and some of your things that you want. And the whole we're all plugged into the system, and it causes a lot of problems, because even if the program is so powerful that even if you have, let's say, $10 million in your bank account, and you know till the rest of your life you have enough money to live, there is always the desire to have more. I want more, I want more, I want more, and I want more and more. And there is no cap onto it, because there is a psychological and mental implant in our brain that says that you have to acquire wealth. And there is a, like when you look at the pyramid of the matrix, where humans, you have the workers, you have the CEOs, you have the leaders, you have people who are in the middle, and you have all the people that fill in that region. So all of that money and everything that we create goes into this central system, where with what we call the central banking system. And that central banking system has the only power it has, because right now it's not even being backed up by gold, is to create numbers out of the air and say, okay, the central bank system have $1 trillion. They just put it into a computer, put it in there, and then the other institutions that are connected to the central bank, they'll get a portion of that money, like a few $1 billion here and there, to those central banks. It's just a number. It doesn't mean, it doesn't have any power, it doesn't have anything. It's just a number. And through a social programming of the society, whether it's from our school system, they create a clone of us. They put us from our childhood into these structures, and they ask you to basically, in order to be successful, you have to get this degree, and that degree is just a piece of paper. It doesn't really give you any value or anything unless you develop life skills. That's the true value. So they create this hierarchy within this illusionary system, where somebody, let's say, who doesn't have that degree, that paper, is basically inferior and has to be given a lower salary or lower gold coins, whatever the programs in their mind, compared to somebody who is a higher level, an engineer or a CEO or something like that. So it's a manufactured system. It's a manufactured hierarchical system where people are being filled according to the pyramid of the Kabbal's pyramid. There are two types of pyramids, and there one positive pyramid, which is a bringer of light and knowledge and unity, and there's another pyramid. When we go, let's look at the first pyramid. When we look at the first pyramid, there is a unity and harmony, and within that pyramid, everyone based on their blueprint will find their position and will live in their joy of who they are supposed to be, knowing that they are connected to the divine source. And there is another negative pyramid where there is a hierarchy, but it's of darkness, where through artificial means we disconnect people from the source within themselves, and we create this hierarchical structure. We clone people to go through that system, plug it in them, and then instead of listening to their soul, we program people so that they listen to their minds, the program in their minds, which is the old Anunnaki collect gold and collect money and collect power and collect everything, and never ending kind of system, a program that is in your mind. And through outer means, instead of allowing people to go within themselves and turn on their inner TV or their inner third eye or their inner vision, we program people to be 24 hours, be plugged into this external TV, where through advertisement, through subconscious programming, and through what we call subliminal messages, we program them so that they never know what they are, and they give their soul energy, their soul life source energy to make this matrix stronger. And it's a never-ending cycle of I would say distraction from the truth, and it will create an illusionary matrix that we all experience since our childhood. So that's the challenge we are going through. We are dealing with a program that is embedded in our mind, or an implant that is in our mind, which disconnects us from our source. We are dealing with a people who have learned over eons of time how to utilize other people's powers for their gain. You know, when you look at multi-conglomerate companies with multi-billion-dollar, budgets and everything, what they're doing is that they're bringing what we call the worker race. The worker race, they're coming into that system. All of the worker race, which they have power of their soul and the co-creative powers, they are supporting through the exchange of money system. Money, there's no value in money. It's just a bunch of numbers in a computer right now, because even they are not being backed up. So they have created this system in which there are numbers that are controlling humans. Like, it's kind of like an interface when you look at it. So the digital art intelligence and the matrix around whomever supporting that structure, the dark pyramid, is using digital means, just numbers in a computer in digital form, to control people's lives, which they have soul and the life source energy from the source God, or the source creator. Remember, God and the creator are the same, they're within you. So never separate that knowledge. That's another subject. But that, through the numbers, basically, you're using enslaving soul energies. And imagine 1 million soul energy working, or maybe in a smaller company where we have few thousands of people. And in a bigger company, when you look at the whole planet, there's few billion people working in some kind of industry. And not all of those industries are aligned with the greatest good of humanity. I can name those. We're talking pharmaceutical industries, medical industry, not emergency things. Those are needed, but the things that are there to hook people up into different kind of drugs, so that they can never go off of it, or masking what is happening out there. And there are multi-billion industry. When you look at Coca-Cola, I'm not naming any company, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever company that is making some kind of artificial ingredient, not in harmony with the a fruit that comes out of the earth. They're creating an industry, an artificial industry, where they're introducing things that are natural, not natural for the human body, into our systems. And that basically causes us to be further away from what and how we are supposed to operate in this world. And there's a lot of life force energy that is being put into actually enforcing the metrics, rather than taking us on a pathway to freedom, and where people can really enjoy the co-creative powers that they have in their that is part of their soul blueprint. And the battle that we are every day having is going out of our houses. Even if you sit in meditation and everything is perfect in your mind and in your soul, and you know your connection, you go out into this world, you either go to a job, to a school or something, and because it's in force, your mind becomes reprogrammed again, so that you keep in that loop, in this infinite loop of being, indoctrinated again and again and again and again, so that your subconscious thinks that that's the norm, and it kind of gives up, you know. It gives up to the externalities of what is happening to you rather than connecting to your source self and basically establishing its connection to your source self, and then recreating its reality based on its connection to the source self. And that's where the danger is, because if you get lost into the externalities, whatever it is, I don't care, it's radio, TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the list goes on and on and on, and including the magazine and some of the books even that you read, or even the people that come into your sphere. We call those externalities if they're not in divine union with your essence. So when you walk into this world, it is really hard to be a light bearer, because if you're in tune with your source, and wherever you walk, you carry that knowledge with you, and then you go into this world, there are thousands of people that are plugged into the matrix, and you want to interact them to remind them, okay, I am coming from the point that I'm united in source with you, and other persons or many other people are indoctrinated in that system. They're lost in their brains, and their soul energy is so plugged into that system that they even forget who they are. They act based on their programming in their mind, and those programmings could be racial differentiation, judging people based on their race, creed, culture, or whatever, and all of that will come to effect, because it's challenging for a lot of people. I was born into a Middle Eastern family, and I know my soul has no color. I know my soul has no religion. I know my soul doesn't have any, differentiation with other people's souls. But because I was brought into that family, I went through so many, racial discriminations in my life that I experienced. And there are other people who have had more. And discrimination from every aspects of your life, you experience it, because you're not being judged based on your soul frequency, but based on your externalities of where you were born, what color your skin is, how you look like, and so forth. And I mean, we gotta really evolve and go above that. It's a very huge pain body. Even if you're born into a white family, it doesn't matter which family. You even feel discriminated, because if you want to fit in with certain people that you feel resonated with, and if they judge you based on your who you are, then it's absolutely hard, because you feel that those external programming come to effect, and that external programming plugged into another person's soul body, and not work in accordance with the divine source energy, will create what we call conflict. It will create problems, and it will create disharmony, and it will plug you back more into the matrix. So once you feel disheartened, and once you feel betrayed, and once you feel cheated, or once you feel unloved and not understood, you say, okay, because I was coming out of my heart and I wanted to really help, and I really wanted to be of service in accordance to the divine source, I went there out to the world, and not only I got shut down, I got ridiculed, I got punished, and in case of Christ, even got killed. And that's the challenge we are going through. And because people are plugged into their externalities rather than internalities. It requires, in order to solve this kind of dichotomy or dilemma, or this problem that we are having, it's kind of ironical, because that intelligence, which is artificial, is using us, the people that are plugged into their minds, using their soul energy to turn them against us. And that's why you see wars happen, because what are wars? Let's say a human construct where you're talking about a body and a soul comes in front of another body construct which has a heart and a soul. Both parties have a soul connected to the source. Both are reindoctrinated that saying that no, I am, let's say, Japanese, or the other person says I'm American, and then they are so disillusioned about how things are. They don't see each other as brothers and sisters. And then what happens? An atomic bomb comes down and it destroys the lives of millions, because that person that was pulling the trigger wasn't connected to his consciousness. He was plugged into his mind, connected to an intelligence based on a hierarchical order of the dark pyramid that I was telling you about, and also connected to a really dark place where that intelligence created a need for military and war technology, whatever that technology is. And that war technology is because when a war technology comes into effect, there's a fear, oh, somebody might come in and take it away from me. But in source technology, you see the other person that is coming to you as part of yourself and a part of your source. Thus, it changes the whole dynamics. You willingly share with the other person. The other person doesn't even have to take it. There's so much abundance. There's so much beauty. There's so much abundance everywhere that you freely give, and you have even more to give, and it never runs out. So, what can we do about the 7 billion people that are plugged in? And we're talking about maybe less than 100,000 that are truly awake. What can we do? Unless we all come together and we all support each other, and unless we can maintain that source energy 24/7 within ourselves, or even if we get lost, we have to bring back ourselves into that source, we can't really battle what is going on. It's not a battle. It's just, the battle is the battle of consciousness, and the battle is the battle of the source. Basically, your infinite source trying to bring light into this region of universe, which has been darkened pretty much by the matrices that are surrounding each and every one of us throughout our day, because you're plugged into it. The good news is that the battle is already won. When we look at the challenges we are going through, and the people who have gone to the future come to the past, the battle is already won. But we gotta be, the reason we are putting these radio shows and we are trying to, share this knowledge is that we just got to remind, so that we maintain our resonance frequency in light, because that's the game changer. The resonance frequency connected to the source in its full potential, knowing its power. If enough of us can plug into that light and hold it and during the day, and let it touch as many people as it can through the law of resonance, other people are going to pick it up, and it's going to create a virus, and a good virus. Because when you're talking about the good virus, is that through shining your light, through being an example of love and giving and caring and all that, even if you're not getting paid for it, a physical mean that was there to control you, you are teaching other people that there's a different way of action and there's a different route. And a lot of things we do is not just based on those numbers that were hacked or put into the walls in front of us, so we can abide by them, and that's the end thing. So we got to teach by our action that through our love, through our caring, and through giving unconditionally, but not depleting yourself, of course. Give and care first to yourself and give to others. When you're in an airplane and airplane is crashing, you have to put the mask on yourself first and then put it on other people. So that's the same rule. You have to come from that position. So first the love of self, because that's the first point contact of your soul to this external reality. And then once you fill yourself with the energy of love and caring, and really I care about, myself, not in a bad way, in a nurturing, caring way. When you look at yourself, you're a soul, you're a being, you're an energy, you're a consciousness, and you're kind of taking a drive in the spacesuit. So this is your vehicle, and you got to take care of your vehicle like you take care of your car. You take it into, change its oil, you take it to, whatever happens into it that causes to have problem, you fix it, because you can't get to work, you can't get to where you want to go if that's not running. So similar to that, my focus is on people who have self-destructive patterns. Those people who have self-destructive patterns, they're destroying their vehicle and make it almost impossible to be the vehicle of change for their evolution and for consciousness growth. And when you do that, there's basically you lost your chance. And you are not to be blamed for, because a lot of these self-destructive habits are trauma-based, and they're based on what we call the interaction of you with other people, that they didn't really understand what's going on, thus creating trauma body in your body. So it's important to realize that that's how you develop that for people who are self-destructive, and to go find a point of hope and connection to the source from within yourself, and from within shine that light, bring that vibration out into your cellular memory and the areas that are really hurting. And once you brought it to that level, you can engulf it in that violet flame, pure violet flame from the source, where it can realign and balance your energetic body into its alignment to the pure source. And that's how you can do it. It's a hard process. It's not easy, but one of the key things that you got to remember is that the observer, if you're an observer, and with your intention and with your belief and with your knowing from the source, once you tap into it in full connection to your self, to the creation, to the creator, and to everybody else, from that point you believe, and then you see the change already happened because you believe it to be, and is positive, and is and in alignment with the divine purpose of the source within you. When you're at that level of understanding, whatever you say and whatever your will is will happen, because you are coming from the source in divine union and harmony, connected to everybody in the highest form of good, wanted to make a change in this physical plane, and you maintain that belief and knowingness within yourself. It's more of a knowingness. It's not even a belief. It's 100% that that's my will, and that is good for everybody. And I know from the depth of my being that this is something that can change the whole world. And with that belief, you just have to know it, and you just have to maintain it. And because you're an observer in its highest order, and its highest order or form, in union with everybody, because you're coming from that higher source, and everybody, once they go to their higher source, they understand that. And there is no higher, there is inner, your inner source, and it's all one. So you come from that belief, you maintain the inner knowledge, you project it out from yourself, and everybody else who don't have that knowing and don't have that belief, they will get it in their source energy field, and then that vision that you have, which is good for everybody, is going to come into full manifestation in no time. It becomes really fast. Like when Jesus was turning water into wine, and creating different loaves of bread and just distributing it to people. It was his knowingness in full union with the source of all that is within him, the knowingness that it's going to come and it's there, and he could transmute the elements into their form that was necessary at that time to help other people to believe, and to help other people to understand, and to help other people to transform, that they can do the same thing. So if enough of us can connect and can be firm in their belief and understanding, and this is the way, and without this we're going to go into annihilation and destruction, and this is the way for us to help each other to save ourselves from what we have gotten into in the first place, then we'll create a new grid, the heart-based grid. And we maintain that grid with our intention and belief, and then other people will become part of that new grid. And then the other grid, because it has a lower frequency and is denser, is going to fall. And not only fall, but because it will dissolve, it will fall, and it will give its place to a higher vibrational reality, because a lower vibrational reality has to bow in front of the higher vibration reality, because the higher vibration reality has created the lower vibration in the first place. So what you see in this world can be recreated, transformed, transmuted, erased, voided, and a new structure of reality can be co-created on top of it. And within it, from within, in and out, it will get just dissolved, and we live in a new reality and a new timeline. And because even your attention will create a timeline, even the attention, if what is the purpose of all these media? I'm talking about BBC, CNN, I'm talking about ABCs of the world, I'm talking about all the news media. And there is one news media connected to the dark pyramid, and that dark pyramid comes out, and what it does, it echoes a certain vision of the future based on current events on the planet. And every other media plugs into the primary media, and they echo that thing, and it goes worldwide. And everybody around the world, 90% of people either watch the news, or they watch TV, or they watch it through their YouTube, or it's now even in Facebook. So the Facebook has become a news agency. What is the purpose of orchestrated distribution of information through, and it's mostly negative information? It's because that dark pyramid understood that if they can disseminate knowledge at this level, and if you can tap into 6-7 billion people's energy body through their minds, external creative power, you can use their soul energy body, what we call chakras, to affect the timeline, create a new timeline, create a new kind of a pathway for that species or those beings that are entrapped in their bodies, and keep enslaving them forever and ever and ever, Because what is the nature of artificial intelligence? I told you about it. Because it cannot generate energy from the source energy, it has to be fed through a person that has the soul energy from the source. So the only way that the AI can live is by entrapment of pupil attention and energies to their minds. And through that, it can basically use their source energy to feed off of people. So see how you're being fed, you're feeding the system. And that's the key. And for a lot of people, this is going to be frightening. A lot of people are afraid because their status quota and so forth, they're in danger. They're so believing that, okay, they're so externalized that they think they need their houses, they need their cars, they need their bank accounts, they need their foods, they need, you know, the things that the system has told them that they need in every day to be able to survive. But if, because you are that co-creator, you have all that power, if you are in full in knowingness in your heart that you are part of that, and you are co-creating with your vision and with your belief of knowingness that you are the Christ, you are the creator, you are the Christ and creator, they are both you, then you walk into the world, you walk on the planet, you have no fear, you will be like a lion. You'll be like a lion because you have no fear of anything, anybody, authority, or anything. You know your full connection. And anything else has to bow, anything lower than the full transparent energy of the source has to bow in front of the source, because that's the greatest, highest level of consciousness that exists anywhere, in any time, in any form. And you have it. You just have to turn away your antenna from your mind chatters and just go within yourself, and then find it, reconnect back, and project it, having full belief and knowingness that this is the way. If enough of us maintain that, we're going to create a grid, and the old grid is going to fall, and we got to do it together. There's no way, it has to catch up. Once we hold, there's enough of us, we can hold the grid, a new heart-based grid, then this thing will be over, because people will no longer feed that soul-sucking energy of the matrix. People will no longer feed the soul-sucking energy of corporations that has been exploiting people for millennia. They wouldn't, be feeding. People wouldn't work for a corporation in China or other places that exploit children. That's the worst crime, when exploiting children for their soul energy, because they're so pure, they're meant to live in their co-creative joy, and they're able. That's their right, and that's the right of children to be free in those years, so they can create joy, be playful because they're guided by the source, and to be to really develop what their co-creative powers in harmony with the divine source. That's their purpose. And right after they're like 3 or 4 years old, we put them in kindergarten. Then right after they're 5 or 6 or 7 years old, we put them in schools. And then we create this cloning program where, oh, you got to learn all these stuff and you don't know anything. We got to reteach you everything. A lot of children that are born, especially the new ones, even if they have a lot of supernatural powers, they have a lot of psychic powers, and through, let's say, fluoride and so forth, we keep closing up the portals either into their crown chakras or third eye and so forth. We keep poisoning them. And the vaccines are the worst things. The vaccines, they're there to make sure people are, the children are brought into this indoctrination that is awaiting them. And all of that is, it should be different. Like in the ideal way, children, yes, they are supposed to be together, but you have to teach them through games, so they develop co-creative power, and they can work together to solve something. But it should be in the form of a game. Even teaching languages, teaching numbers, teaching the science and everything. It's a playful, beautiful thing. You're not, putting people in front of the desk in a worse position, behind the desk, sitting on a chair for 8 hours a day, having a little playtime, and then asking them to do homeworks, repeating those stuff every day, and then creating this robotic 9 to 5 slaves that have no purpose, and they don't know what is their goal. They're lost. They say, oh, I know everything that the other person knows, and I don't know what else to do. There's this competition because you're manufacturing these people now. You have these degrees. You're telling them you have a masters of electronics, and you've got 10,000 people having master of electronics. And all of those 10,000, because they're now equal, they're not unique, have to compete in the work environment and the work system, so that one of them can win, have a bit of a better artificial digital number in his bank account. So it's funny, but it's sad at the same time. And goes with other things. People are categorized into different things. However, every one of them have a very unique gift. Every one person have a unique talent that no one else has, and you can bring that, you can connect it to the source, and you can touch the millions of lives of people around the world with the power that has been given to you in harmony and in a universal abundance that is your right. Universal abundance is your right, and there is no other way. If anybody tells you other way, tell them they're liars, because that's a lie. We have lived the lie for all of our lives, and it's time to change it. And this is a time, and you are the people that can make that change happen through your knowingness, through your belief, connected to your heart, connected to the source of all there is, all there was, and all there will be, into that infinite ocean of self that you are. And remember your connection, as you are all stars in that ocean of infinite. Every one of you are stars. Every one of you are a star, or a light, or a light bearer. And you can, together we can change everything. And it doesn't even take all the efforts that you see. It's just a flip of a button. You change the consciousness, you connect it, other people will get it, other people will become part of it, and it's a co-creative process. And you don't need money for that. You don't need any structures up there to it. It's a flip of a button. It's a flip of a it takes a lot of beliefs. It takes a lot of belief and a lot of knowingness, because now you will have a polar force working within yourself. One pole is connected to your source. One pole of that is connected to all the programming and all the indoctrination that you had from when you were a kid, watch your first TV show, and you believe that you need material things or money or whatever. So you're going to have a battle between yourself. And you say, what? I don't need this. I don't need a house. I don't need a car. What should I do? How can I go? How can I do it? And all of those questions will come because they're coming from the mind, because you were believing in all that. But once you go and the other side, you look at it, that it's not a one person's effort, it's a collective consciousness effort where we got to really connect to each other and to make that reality happen. That's when the shift occurs, and the old structure has to fall before a new structure can be created. But at the same time, you got to co-create on top of the old structure a new structure so people can become part of it, and people can rest in that environment to be allowed to be completely taken off the old paradigm or old grid. So it's kind of overlap because you're creating a vesica Pisces. So you have the old dark structure, you got to overlap, there's going to be a middle point, and from that middle point a new creation arises, which allows us to go around the circle and within a new reality and into a new, it's almost like a hologram, a holographic creation. So you create a holographic creation within that circle, and then you go down through and you'll experience it. And then this reality becomes a thing of a past. It becomes kind of an imagination. And for a lot of people who pass over, go to the next levels, if they're not trapped into the reincarnation machine, which has been dismantled a long time ago, but there are remnants of their that programming that resides in certain dimensions. So you may get pulled back into that system. But if at this time there's a choice to go out in a different route, it is for people who have passed away, they know that they don't need these things. So you got to come from that point. You got to connect with that part of you which doesn't need anything. Thus, you don't need anything. You're just playing. You're enjoying every day, and it's a game. It's a game, but at the same time, you don't get lost in the game. The worst part is that when you get lost in the game, imagine you came out of your house, went to the neighbor's house, and when you were a kid, you decided that you want to play hide and seek. And then the game got really, really serious, and you know, one of your friends went to hide, and that person decided to keep hiding and never come out. It got into his mind that, oh, this is super serious. I got to really hide forever. And he gets lost, and all these problems gets rising. So it's like right now, we are so lost in the game that we have forgotten ourselves. And it's just a matter of going back or remembering who we are, and then it's going to be game over. You know, not going to take a day. It's going to take more, but that's how we can make the game over and a new, better game. You know, let's do a better game this time. That's when we can make it happen. I see there are a few people on the line right now. I would like to open up questions. Feel free to ask personal questions, collective questions, or anything that at this time kind of can reflect in what you're experiencing in a reality. And then feel free to share that with me so I can remember or remind you of what you can remember within yourself to help that distortion that you're experiencing to be balanced and harmonized. So I think that's what I can do for you. We got 3 people: Nikki, somebody named Silicon Computers, and Whitney. Let's start with Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Can you introduce yourself, and if you have any questions for yourself or any general question? I'll unmute you for a second. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Ali.
Hi.
I'm Nikki, and I work often with Whitney, doing workshops together. And I don't really have a question other than I would like to really have peace in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm getting kind of tired about what's going on the planet, and attempting to find a way to, I don't know quite what to say, to find a way to be okay in it, and always having to bring myself back to what I know is real. Just today finding myself in a particularly challenging place. So I don't really have a question.
Okay. No, I was just quickly scanning your energy. I mean, in divine union with the source that knows everything, and I saw some patterns of energy in your system, and your soul energy. I see that it is very much outside your heart center. I see it is scattered around your body, and from your heart center, I see these lines that goes forward, and it goes upward into an external source of light that you actually created out of yourself. And there is a vibration. The vibration is just like that I see. How can I explain it? It's uncertainty. That's the vibration that I'm picking up in terms of your connection from your source to that external being that you created out of yourself. And it kind of looks like, how can I say? Have you seen those night photographies where you take a photo of cars passing by and see these lines, and there's dark parts and there are light parts, and it's kind of random. I see that pattern coming from your central heart, going up forward a bit and going upward to that reality that is there. So if I want to decipher that information, just to give you a bit of an insight, it basically goes back to your fate, even from family, the things that they taught you, and also belief systems that you have developed over the years. And what it has done basically is that you are pretty much your soul energy is kind of trying to get to that source energy, but it's not there. So what it has done, it has created, it's scattered around your body, so it's all over your body. But from your central place, you have this energy of uncertainty because you're lost in knowing the truth, and you need to kind of remember your connection and your relationship to your who you are and what you can do, and what is your relationship to the creator that right now you put outside yourself and somewhere above there. And because in your journey in your life, the things you have asked from that external creator that you thought was the real creator, and you have received uncertain answers because sometime it did happen, and that was kind of your belief that it was supposed to happen for you, but it didn't. And there are some times that it didn't happen. So it has created what we call uncertainty and untrustfulness to that relationship that you have created with yourself, with something you call the creator outside yourself.
So I'm looking for my creator in the wrong place.
Yes. Yes. And remember that your heart is the temple of the creator. So imagine, like, in your body, close your eyes, bring your soul energy, and then kind of you have to revoke that power that you have given to that being that you created out of yourself. So you have to not to revoke it, but just to pull it back and let all that uncertainty and all that faith that you had that you didn't receive back. You prayed for it many times, but you didn't receive it. So you got to bring that energy
Right.
back and let those stuff fall, those, I would say, uncertain energy to fall. And once you bring it back to your body, and then once you allow that part of you, it's kind of allowing for the crystalline structure to open up in the center of your being, in your heart, this energetic heart. It will create a temple. It will create like a beautiful temple, and you come out of that and you walk out through the door, and then you see your body in a different light. You see your relationship with yourself in different light, and you see even how you created that external creator outside yourself, so that it can teach you what you're learning right now. And from there, you will learn that with your intention, with your belief, and with simply knowingness that you are the source of your own power. You create a holographic heart matrix around your heart. You bring it out into externalize. I mean, it comes out. It kind of creates a. You can even visualize it as a temple around your body. It is when you open your arms like a cross. The temple, it's like a circle, and that circle engulfs your arms. So you live in this temple, the temple of your body, the first circle that is established around your body. And then you bring it out, never forgetting your connection back to your heart source. Never forgetting that, you don't need to project that energy outside. Then you will become an embodiment of your resonant frequency. You will become the embodiment of the pure frequency of light, or a star that I was telling you about before. You'll become a star. And
I like that.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you are a star. And then once you're a star, you attract other stars that are resonating in that frequency. And then you can create harmony together. And you can create a completely new reality that you experience in your experience in this journey of a lifetime, or many lifetimes, or millions of years, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great honor to meet you again.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gonna take some time. It's the diving within will take some time, but it's a beautiful journey. And sometimes it is kind of unbelievable, because you're remembering and it's very simple, but it's at the same time you keep forgetting, because you go out to that world where everybody is forgotten, so you get reindoctrinated on how you react based on the they call it rigid rigid brain patterns, because in our brain we have neurological pathways. Those neurological pathways gets formed based on the reward and punishment. Sometimes we do certain behavior we get rewarded for, and new neurological patterns get formed that, I feel good, I better keep that, and I keep repeating it. And then
yes.
And then you have these neurological patterns, which is for pain and punishment. And you do something, and for example, your mom or dad will, punish you for something, and you create those patterns in your brain. And it becomes, I better not to do that, not to piss anybody off. And we basically live in those patterns of the brain. And it's
I always try to get out of those patterns.
Yeah.
And then there's a part of me that thinks, because I know I'm here to make, I really feel that I'm here to make life, improve the quality of life on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I have to go out into the wilderness to know what's out there. I can't just stay within myself.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure that that's true, but I seem to do that a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the patterns and the habits, and to really get out of that, it's a challenging task. Uh, I mean, nature is a healer. If or even traveling by yourself, those definitely can help. But there are certain sacred sites around the planet that are of a higher vibratory um, um, frequency, and like Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Pyramid of Giza. In the ancient time, that was very powerful, but the alignment has changed, so the power has gone pretty much down now. But there are some sacred sites, like Mount Shasta is a very good one, uh, and Sedona is a very good one too. It's a great portal. Um, the place that I'm picking up that are compatible with your energy is Sedona, and the other one is Mount Shasta, and not during winter when it's warmer, of course, but you gotta go to let's say Sedona or Mount Shasta and stay there for at least a month. You know, because if you just go there for a few days, your patterns will come back. And you gotta basically follow your intuitive self to connect with other people that are there. And then um, uh, through your experiences and through your guidance from your inner guiding system, you're gonna meet people that they're gonna help you to remember what you need to do, and also your life path. What are you supposed to do? You know, what is it that you got to do at this time to help the planet, because that's what you feel you need to do. um, you have a really motherly energy in which that it was uh, possibly in one of your past lives you had Native American reincarnation, like an old mother figure almost, and there are feathers. So I see that you're holding the planet in your hand with a care, and that you want it to be green, and you want it to be um, abundant, and you want it to be have like rivers and beauty and grace and everything that comes with the mother planet that it is.
Oh,
And
I love planting things and making it beautiful.
yes. And you have this kind of a white kind of a coat, but it's made from animal. It's possibly animal skin, because back in the days in Native Americans, they used to make these animal skins. So that I see that that's what you were wearing in that lifetime, and that's the frequency that you have. But a very connected to Native culture, Native American, and very much caring about the planet. And in your later days in that lifetime that you had, um, um, you had the vision and also a pain that you carried within yourself, a very strong pain, almost like somebody pull a knife or an arrow in your heart, and it goes in from somewhere in the center of your uh, upper body, goes in, and it's yeah, there's definitely a trauma there. Like either somebody has um, stabbed you in there, either physically or energetically. I see there's a line, and there's a um, pattern going, and it's very deep. It goes very deep.
Yes, I can feel it.
Yeah. And let me see how deep. May I get your permission to go deeper? Because it's
Yes, you have my permission.
Okay, thank you. Mm. Yeah, you had a son in that lifetime, and that son was a young man. He had like dark hair, and that son uh, turned his back away from you and went on his way. Um, in that lifetime, you basically wanted him to be close to you, and you really cared for him, and you wanted him like to be with you and then get married and have kids. So you wanted him to be around you, but um, he was not happy where he was living, and he had a part of himself that how can I tell? Let's see. Energetically, he wasn't feeling compatible in the area that you are living. His like lower chakras that I've scanned, it was vibrating at kind of it wasn't compatible. It was just all over the place. He couldn't root himself in that land that you had or in that area that you had, so he had to move to find where he can rest, and he can be rooted in where he is. So he went away, and he went for a long time. You like even so you didn't saw you never saw him back. Like he went, and you even thought he might be dead or something. So it scarred you really badly because he never came back for you. That's where I see the pattern goes. With that relationship of your son, and that because he was your son, you it's your son. You can never let go, and you were always had this. You were always it goes to your solar plexus and lower energy. You were wondering what's going on. You had this uncertainty that there is something gone wrong. Is he alive? Is he well? Something like that. And you hold on to it for a lifetime. And even when you passed away in that lifetime, you were looking in the horizon, and you were looking at the light, and you wanted to know the answer in that lifetime.
And so is he in my lifetime now as my son?
In this, can you repeat that? What are you saying?
Is he in my lifetime now as my son?
No, he's not right now. No, don't see that.
Okay.
The son that you have, I'm not gonna go there because I don't know if I have his permission to do anything with him. But no, he's not your this lifetime son. This lifetime son is has a very lighter energy, almost like an angel. That's how I see his energy. He's very light. He's very supportive. He's a joy to be around, and he's very he's a light to be around. Basically, he lights up wherever he goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We got Rana 63. Is there any information that you would like to share?
Yes, Ali, can you hear me?
Yes,
Rana?
I can. Hi, Rana.
Oh, okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, brother.
All right. Okay. I would like to ask you, I think you are genetically, I believe you are from, my race, I would say. My genetics, I mean, India or Pakistan. Are you from Middle Eastern family?
Yes, I was born in Iran, and that was the heritage that I was born into.
All right. Okay. So you're not Indian race. I mean, your genetics is not with India, right?
No, I'm not.
You're Iranian genetics.
Yeah, whatever that name.
But your what do you call your accent seems, like us, people like us in this part of the world,
Yeah,
India,
yeah,
Pakistan.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, good to talk to you. And I'm lucky, I just last night I was just trying to find out something on plasma fields and things like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
this came up with other
Right.
things, and then I land up here on this page, and then
Mm-hmm.
now I'm talking to you. So I don't know much about your organization, but I have learned a lot about spiritual things, in my life. Many organizations I have, their teaching I have researched, and also a phenomenon called channeling. There's a lot of things coming through channel, like you are a medium as well. You are saying, which I have a few questions about. So I would like to ask you. First of all, I would like to share that I had a mystical experience, and that I found myself one with existence, and I felt that I have never left this existence, and I will never leave this existence, and I will always be a part of it. And it's I had this information that this is true, because there is channeling material which is I have read about in that. So that it has proven true to me with that kind of mystical experience, which I had few days no, it's few days back. So as far as spiritually I am concerned, as far as spiritually I am, I have, I understand myself to be in which state I have to be. I would like to share that. That is, we all of us, it's my perspective, not, I wouldn't like to say what's yours and what you are wrong or things like that. I would like to say that because I have experienced this mystical feelings, from finding myself one with it. And so I think we all of us will eventually we will feel we will have a daily experience of a connection with the rest of creation, and we as a species, we are out of living our consciousness is out or out of alignment with the existence, and the invisible sources, including entities in creation, angelic kingdom and others, all they are trying to do is that they're trying to bring back to original connection with the consciousness and the rest in existence. Now and that's my perspective now. And now I would like to ask you, I think you are claiming to be medium, you are also sharing things from other realms, is that correct?
Yes, I basically everything is interconnected. So once you learn how to through practices, or it could be even a near-death experience for some people, or a mystical experience in your case, you go into reestablishing the connection. The connection always stays there, and then you can tune in and see how or why everything is. And it can be in different dimensions, timelines, anywhere, because everything is interconnected. And in your own case, you are not even from this planet. That's what I see. You are from a different race, different species, and you were born into an Indian family, but you, even from the childhood, you had an experience that you can't fit in anywhere, because you felt out of place with all the traditional things or things that are around you. So that was really um, uh, hard for you to go through that process, because you're completely coming from a different realm, wanted to kind of explore, saying, oh, there's something unique is happening, I want to go see what's going on. And you came down here, and your family and the people who were close to you during your childhood, they kind of, in your mind matrix, they created this I would say it looks like a layer and layers and layers of conditioning and programming as for you not to bring that part of you which is interdimensional out into this world, because it basically freaks them out. It was not from this planet, and you were trying to bring that energy in, like your solar sense energy. And when you were bringing that, you were basically freaking everybody out, because you live in a completely different form of a reality in comparison to what people who are either native or from other galaxies or other star systems that they come into. And that was basically your challenge. And even now, like the more I tell you this, the more you remember, and I want you to be more of that. There's nothing wrong with being that who you are, in which you are an interdimensional being. And in your awakening, there is region of the universe where there are very kind of like the patterns, you see triangles and stuff like that. It almost looks like a triangle within triangle within triangle. And there is a different geometry compared to this universe. This universe is a double tetrahedron universe. The one that you lived in, it was a completely different power, like almost inverted. Kind of when you invert the Merkaba, all the lines and everything, it becomes outward. It's a different matrix that it can exist, and because the laws or the mathematics of that universe works to sustain life, and you were part of that soul group or soul structure. And when you came into this, you had to go through a lot of challenges to adopt into this, understand how it is, because it was almost opposite, not opposite, but inverted to what you really experience in your majority of your lifetime, that dimension. And yeah, you couldn't fit in anything. You wanted to be of your own, but you had to create layers within your mind that kind of separates you from or connects you somehow with the it's kind of like translates what you're doing here to what you actually are. So does that make any does that hit any chords in you, the things that I'm telling you about?
Yes, sir. Can I come in now?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's really I'm feeling very good that I got in touch with you, and maybe something we can explore eventually. I would like to continue to come here, and I would like to share with you my experience and your experience as well. And I think you have unique things as well. You are picking up certain things, energetically, and you are given certain what do you call a kind of creative power in which you are able to energetically translate certain things. So you are absolutely right. That I right from the beginning, I didn't fit in. I didn't feel myself there. I belong here. Things like that. I still feel more alignment with American society rather than anybody else. But there is a feeling within me. There is a love within me. Kind of unconditional that brings kind of a making sense with other people, but I feel more aligned with American society because there's no because actually it's just the feeling with them. They are open and they have kind of a kinship within myself when I come energetically with them generally. And but it doesn't make me kind of superior or inferior or neither American. It's just an energetic kind of kinship feeling. There are certain experiences I feel with other people as certain good, and there's other things I feel with my own people good. That's a different thing. But I would like to say that yes, you're correct in this sense that I felt very odd one out in this world, and there are many people in this world, they felt that we have unique kind of a challenge to face, and we are generally successful. At least I'm not successful. I feel successful that I have, come in attunement with the word conscience more than ever before. So that challenge is, has less intensity, which I was having a few years ago, that I found totally alone, and many things I had to face, at that time. Okay, now I would like to ask you, we don't have much time. Next time, maybe we'll share other things. I would like to ask you, you are a medium, and what is coming through you? It's regarding what we can ask you any question, and can you give us the answer using your mediumistic capabilities?
Yeah, in a humble way, I'm here to remind you of your power, of who you are, and it's something every one of you can access and tap into. I'm not special by any means, but there's an open channel through me. You always, it doesn't matter if it is me or anybody, you gotta make sure that you connect to your heart and verify that information from within your own heart, because that's the true guidance system that you got to work. So don't listen to me, but listen, and then go within yourself, connect, and see if it resonates with you in a positive way. And if it does, then you can trust it. But at every time, be in the eternal moment where you connect to yourself, connect to others, connect to yourself, connect to others, and through that cycle you can verify all the information that is coming through. And as you were saying, you came from a different universe to this universe that had a different geometry, so you had a lot of trying to fitting in what's going on here, but the common denominator is unconditional love. Because through unconditional love, that universe that you were created. Through unconditional love, this universe that you see is created. So the only challenge for you is to become that unconditional love at any moment. And then through that common denominator, people can come and explore your universe and realize, oh, this reality can exist, and it's beautiful, and it's working, and it's harmonious, if I want it to be. And then you have a common denominator so that the other people can understand and relate to you, and through your belief you can make that happen. So that's what I was
yes. Okay, Ali, that's great. Another thing you have expanded on. Yes, thank you very much for that. And but one thing I would like to ask you, I'm not stuck up as such, because I still take the guidance of Quran. It has set parameters in it. I wouldn't like to go beyond that, and I would like to ask you if you have any kind of, proof that we had a previous life and we will have a future life, things like that, in existence. How can you prove that? If it is a belief, then I would like to go into it, because I have spent many years of my my study. I have spent many years on study, on channeling stuff, and other spiritual stuff as well. I never had, I couldn't understand fully the existence, as such. All that is, I couldn't understand it in what sense, how it works, in totality. Especially our life, from our life, phenomena. So as far as Quran is concerned, it says, it has, that there's only one life, and then you exit, and you go into other life, and there is a heaven and hell, That I still stick to that, but how can you say that we have, different lives, and we will continue to have different lives as well in the future? How can you come to that conclusion,
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things you gotta realize is that this life itself is a magical thing. It's the most magical, amazing thing. But because we kind of see it so many times, we got accustomed to, so we don't see the magic. And the like even the, you when you look at your feet, when you look at your hand, all these atoms and cells and neutrons and protons are together creating your body, a suit, and you're on this rock in the middle of nowhere in the universe, traveling at the speed of hundreds of thousands of kilometers per hour, and what you call this blue planet, which has water and trees and land, and inside of it there's lava, and there's so many species, and then you're hurling through space, and you got the moon and the sun and all these galaxies and stars and everything. This is not normal. Although we're accustomed to think it is normal, this is not normal. This is of an intelligent design. This is this creation, everything, how it is fit together is such a simple and complex in its own way when you put them together, that it's almost like an infinity of infinite things that are happening within itself. So this is not normal. We are not normal. You're not normal. Our souls are not normal. Nothing is normal. And within this unnormalness, there is so many religions, millions of religions that, all of them, not only in this earth, but anything connected to this dual kind of polarity. There's a whole variation from the light of the light to the dark of the dark, but none of them can see the underlying connection between the dark and the light. I'll have to mute one of you, but I'll bring you back on once. Okay, now it's better. Okay. So I was saying there's so many different religions and different customs and different stuff that are happening. So what has happened is that what we call, and all of them think they are right. This thing is, oh, I'm the only absolute and there's nothing beyond me. And the other one says, I'm the only absolute and nothing is beyond me. So all of them kind of think that they are right because they are, all of them are part, like when you look at an elephant, let's say this religion covers this side of an elephant, and that religion covers that side of an elephant, and that religion covers that part of the elephant. They don't see the totality and the connection of all the parts that created the elephant in the first place. And so all of them kind of give a truth in a sense of that particular thing. So what you call heaven or hell, they are part of the astral plane. Yes, they do exist, but they are different. When you look at the whole universe, there are so many different dimensions. Astral, we are talking third or fourth, where you still have a form, and as a result of having a form, you can go through heaven and hell, or you can create your own heaven and hell and go experience it based on your actions. And it's just when we don't treat others as ourselves, and when we treat others as separate than us, and as a result we commit something, an act of violence or something that can cause any harm to another being, we create what you call distorted energies. So when we die, we can't just come out of our shells and just go right directly to the source. We go through the distortions to resolve those, or even come back again to relearn some of the lessons so that we can resolve those. In case of some of the religions that are loving to some people and then they're hating some people, where there's no unconditional love, you're creating a duality, and as a result, not treating the other person as a friend, or don't seeing the unity in separation, or their unity within themselves. And what that does is that it causes us to interact and do things to each other that in one way or another hurt the other person. And since we are still living here, we are learning the lessons of what we are supposed to learn in this lifetime. We go to what you call heavens or hells based on our actions, and those heavens and hells are all based on the unconditional love. So they're different from when you look at any spectrum of light. At the topmost, you got unconditional love. At the bottom part, you got unconditional hatred or complete hatred. And the religions fit into any polarities of those spectrum. And within those, because each one of them has to judge, they are not connected to the underlying fabric of the creation, which creates both dark and the light. They create different variations, and they think their spectrum is their spectrum, and people get absorbed into those spectrums based on their culture, tradition, or soul, collective soul spectrum. There are some souls that are part of the collective spectrum, so they are attracted to a specific religion. And there are some people, such as yourself and others, who are completely outside that spectrum. They come from outside to experience that spectrum, and they pick up the things that their collective collective consciousness teaches them to do. And it's kind of like almost getting you got to unlearn a lot of things you learned within that thing to kind of remember your own connection. And sometimes there's a lot of us that come in and they come out directly from the source, coming to the system just to transform it. Once everything is transformed, they just go back to where they were. And I just want you to know that this life is a really magical experience, and there's so much depth, and there's so much wisdom, and there's so much beauty and harmony within even disharmony that exists, that causes the fabric of creation to be here where it is right now. So it's I know it's a bit complicated, but at the same time it's simple. So I just gonna unmute you if kind of that resonated.
Yes, Ali. Thank you much for enlightening me. And I would like to ask you, the things which you have, said, are you picking up from within yourself somewhere, some energetically you are picking up these truths about existence, or is it just a result of, is it also a result of, or a mix of it? Is a result of reading things, from other sources and then going within and making sense of existence?
Everything is.
I believe existence is too complex. We cannot, comprehend perhaps, in our intellect as far as human being are concerned.
Right. In my readings, like when I do a reading, I normally in my heart space, and then I see visions in my mind as I'm exploring. As I'm exploring different answers to different questions, and the vision come up, and I have to translate those vision into words, and that's how I channel information. And there's a lot to be learned on that, and hopefully in the future you meet me in person, I can change up the energy so you can see what I see. So I can do some of those, but there are some people that are only visual. There are some people that are only feeling based, so they don't see stuff, and there are some people that hear stuff. So you got to really see what is what is the area that you are connected to, and go from that part and bring it up. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's great. Okay, and Ali, we will be. I'll be coming again and again, and to explore further along the way.
Wonderful.
If there is a need in on my path, in my spiritual pursuit. So I believe I'll be coming here, and I would like to share continuously. And I would like to also, would like to ask other questions as well, certain updated things on a worldly phenomena or earthly phenomena. And but I thank you very much for what you have shared, and your hard work which you have done to bring this all together, making possible these chats, And
Wonderful. It's a great honor to
that,
have
that's,
you
that's
here.
that's really great, what you have done. So I appreciate that, and look forward to see you all again here next week. Or is it some other time? Is it a next week?
Yeah, I'll try to do next week sometime. I gotta travel, so I can't do it on exactly. I'll try to keep them every week so we can reconnect back and get this thing going. Great honor
Yeah,
to
that's
have you
great.
here.
Okay, thank you very much, and wish you best of luck and everybody as well.
Thank you. Whitney, is there anything that you would like to ask? So we can.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
What a wonderful, everything's been a really nice conversation tonight. Wow. And John's here with me. Do you have a question, John? No? I'm not sure if I have a question. I have something to share that has been working on this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting how seems to be a layer of reality that is coming up to be transmuted.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do a lot with the kind of like the book of good and evil, good and bad, right and wrong, duality, has to do with the angels versus demons, this a program that is running,
Mm-hmm.
that is this duality kind of program. And it's really fascinating. I started to kind of see with one of the gals that works with the Many Hands for Peace stuff, Carolyn, has been doing a ton of work on implant removal and being able to go through and really find like all these, there's like pain redoublers and restrictors and rods and I mean about everything conceivable that seems to be an implant.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized from working with her is that some of the layers that we thought might be, I don't know, like what everybody's shooting for is maybe not exactly where we want to shoot for.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because there's a clash of two realities. The one that wants to, the one that we lived in for the past eons, and the one that is going to be birthed.
Yeah.
The fifth world, the world of the dream world that is going to come. So there's going to be a clash, and there's going to be struggle. Like our company that I was working, they sent a notice to all employees, like 70 of them. They said, "Oh, we're going to shut you down." Why? Because this part in their new profitable thing, they were saying that, "Oh, it doesn't generate as much profit as we want, so we're going to shut it down." And I personally was so happy when I heard it because I was been there for the last 6-7 years, and it's been like living in that matrix and trying to be myself, and then being living in it and being out of myself. So I had this duality within the work that I do, the spiritual work, and other works that I do. And I was super excited that when I heard that, I said, "Thanks God, I'm gonna get out of it," because I'm very responsible for like wherever I work. I want to make sure that they're in the right place. I don't want to just leave them or anything. I want to take care of them because that's part of my nature. And I couldn't imagine how they would have survived without me, but we kind of were acquired by another company, and they kind of decided on our behalf that it's time that we let this part go. But when I heard it, I said, great timing. I feel this is a great time because there's going to be changes, and then I got to come out of that structure, go into a new structure, and I'm looking forward to it. And instead of a lot of people will go to worry, oh, how can I live, blah, blah. I had like my soul is so at peace and so optimistic that things are going to get better that I'm not even worried about that. I know that I'll be taken care of no matter what, no matter what happens in the external world, because I have the faith and belief and I know who I am, and I know my connection to other people. And it's those structure, they're going to be like we call stock market crash, or even the economic crash, or those crashes, not go from the place of fear, but as a necessity that those things has to fall off, so we can learn a new way, and that new way is going to be harmonized into this way, so that we can transition properly into it. It's not going to be, oh, we got to do it in one day and it's going to be over, but it's going to be a new transitional thing, that things, if you choose to experience harmony in this transition, you are more than welcome to choose it. But if you're rigid and you're not willing to bend over when things move, and bend over then, because the reality that we are going through is such greater than our individual will connected to the illusionary reality, our own higher reality connected to the divine reality is so significant than our individual reality connected to the illusionary reality, that our source reality is going to win, and it's going to disassemble anything as part of that. And if anybody has forgotten their connection to the source, and they think they are those realities and those constructs, and they can live, they're going to destroy themselves as well. Like in this last stock market crash, there's a lot of people, they're killing themselves because suddenly their stock went from positive 1 million to a negative 10 million. And then because they didn't see themselves as a source of creation, they thought that the money is their supplier of creation. Because they saw the debt, then they committed their own debt, because they saw that source. They didn't see the sources themselves, and they didn't think they would survive without any of that, and they can't thrive without any of the externalities. So once you know your essence, you can survive in despite of anything that goes around the world. Even physical death can't touch anybody, because you are a consciousness, you keep living. If you lose a body, you pick another one, you travel around, you go up or down, or wherever you want to go. You have total freedom. So you're not afraid to be your full signature frequency of the divine I am, and that's who you are. So yeah, it's kind of my take on it.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think we are almost on about a couple of hours mark. So it was great to hear from all of you. Let's do this again. Unless there's any last question, I would like to slowly close the call.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your ability to speak in a way that it makes it very understandable. And I think that's really helpful. So I really appreciate you being willing to do these calls and just to share the information as much as possible. So thank you, Ali.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Nikki, Rana, Whitney.
Yes, thank you, Ali.
And we'll see you in the future. I'll upload the video recording into my YouTube channel. I'll send it to Evolution TV Network so they can upload to theirs. And till next time, I love you, everyone.
Yes, we love you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.